as a representative of the NRA.
That's what the NRA is.
I'm trying to
And AR-15, keep AR-15s out.
We have to use a little common sense.
Guys, do you guys want to stop mentally insane individuals from getting...
You know what the point he's making is actually brilliant. The point is...
All of us need to stand up and protect its citizens. All of us need to demand governors and legislators and businesses do their part to make our communities safer.
Gun violence is one of the biggest problems in America. About 90 people are killed and 230 people are injured every day. Majority of fatalities and injuries come from suicide, domestic violence, unintentional shootings, drug-fueled gang disputes, random rampages, and arguments gone bad. Just this year, there have been almost 6,000 gun deaths in America, and we are just halfway through the year. Imagine the number of gun deaths at the end of the year. We need more gun laws to make the world safer. Studies have shown that states with stronger firearm safety laws have lower death rates. For example, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, and Arkansas currently fall within the top 10 firearm deaths. One similarity that all of these states share is that none of them require license, registration, or permit to buy a gun. On the other hand, Washington and Rhode Island have some of the most restrictive gun laws in the U.S., and they fall on the lower end of firearm death rates in the country. Another study was done in Brazil, where they took data on gun-related deaths before and after they strengthened the laws, as Brazil has one of the highest homicide rates in the world. The results showed that after more laws were put in place, the firearm-related mortality declined by 18% from the previous year. Some of the new laws enacted made it illegal to own a gun if not registered and to carry it outside. They enforced mandatory background checks and raised the minimum age to 25. The penalties were also made tougher. For example, fines were increased and jail time got longer. The study stated that in Brazil, a good portion of recent declines in firearm-related deaths and hospitalizations could reasonably be attributed to new government measures aimed at reducing the availability of guns. Most recent years, mass shootings have tripled in America, mostly because of lacking gun laws. America makes up less than 5% of the world's population but holds 31% of global mass shootings. But why does America experience so many mass shootings? Well, the answer lies within its astronomical number of guns. From 1966 to 2012, 31% of the gunmen in mass shootings worldwide were American. But why does America own so many guns? Well, this is because America has some of the weakest controls over who may buy a gun and what sorts of guns may be owned. For example, Switzerland has the second highest gun ownership rate of any developed country, about half that of the United States. Its gun homicide rate in 2004 was 7.7 per million people, unusually high, but still only a fraction of the rate in the United States. Swiss gun laws are more strict, setting a higher bar for securing and keeping a license on selling guns and on the type of guns that can be owned. Such laws reflect more than just tighter restrictions. They imply the different way of thinking about guns, as something that citizens must affirmatively earn the right to own. Majority of mass shootings come from shooters who have a background of mental illnesses. Some would say it's the people, not the guns, because there are already laws set in place to make sure people who are involuntarily put into psychiatric centers aren't allowed the right to have a gun. But what about the people that haven't been put into one, or the people who voluntarily put themselves into treatment centers? If we had stricter gun laws, those people would not be able to access a gun. Studies have shown that the majority of people are not okay with laws already set in place, and that 70% of people support gun restrictions on mentally ill people so that they won't be able to access guns. All in all, mental illnesses are a large part of why there are so many shootings and why we have to push for more laws, so we can lower mortality rates in the United States.
Starting with the basic idea of keeping guns out of dangerous hands. This isn't about taking certain guns away from all people. It's about keeping all guns away from certain people, and it's the people that it turns out we all agree shouldn't have guns: convicted violent criminals, domestic abusers, the dangerously mentally ill.
Some people may say that guns are just a tool, like knives or hammers, and if there were more gun laws in place, it wouldn't change anything. In fact, some might say that more guns would make the world a safer place. Here's the rather obvious problem with such thinking. Firearms are more lethal than knives and hammers. Gunshot wounds frequently cause catastrophic damage, and the ability to maintain a quick and steady rate of fire allows a gunman to maximize casualties. There is a reason that American mass killers choose assault-style rifles to carry out their attacks, not knives or hammers. So more guns would mean that more ill people would have access to them, which is why we need more laws such as mandatory background checks to make sure they don't get into the wrong hands. The human brain isn't fully developed until around age 27, and decision-making is one of the main parts that have yet to develop. So at age 18, you are not ready to take on the responsibilities of owning a gun. With more gun laws in place, we would make sure that the wrong people don't have access to them and can't violate their use. It is time that we all stand together and voice our opinions so we can make the world a better and safer place.
As I said just a few months ago, and I said a few months before that, and I said each time we see one of these mass shootings, our thoughts and prayers are not enough. It's not enough.
Killing people, dying, children hurt, and you hear them crying. And you practice what you preach, and what you turn the other cheek. Father, Father, Father.